Well, hey everyone, I am here with Logan Tokos. We are doing an all of life interview today. And usually when we do these interviews, we're asking very specific questions about people's occupation and their work, but we're doing it a little different today. We are going to launch a prayer and action group focused on affordable housing, a group that's really going to lock in and say, how can we help with affordable housing? How can we pray? How can we contribute in some way? And this was really birthed out of Logan seeing the need in our community, and some of her reflections that she's had during her master's degree program. So, Logan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your master's degree program and some of the stuff you've learned there?
Yeah, so I'm working on my master's in urban and environmental planning at ASU. Go Devils. And through that, I got really interested I come from land development, is where my background is in professionally. Just seeing how the urban form shapes us. I think about like liturgies in the church, like the things we do over and over again shape who we are and who we become. And like urban form works the same way. That like the way that we build cities and the way that we put things together changes the opportunities that are available to us or the people that we encounter, or just what kind of resources we're able to take a hold of. And so affordable housing has been introduced to me through that program, just as a key issue. And so I'm interested just to share more about it and to pursue it, because I think it has a lot of ties to just justice. And yeah, God cares about providing for people in that way, that they would have places that they could raise their kids and have privacy and access to utilities and the things of life, and housing has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. A home is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a very big deal, but often we don't even think that much about how big of a deal it is until it's hard to find good, affordable housing.
Oh, absolutely.
So in this field, in this world of people who are working on affordable housing, who are some of the people who are doing the work, who are pursuing providing that for others, and how are they displaying the character of God through their work?
Yeah, so there's a lot of players in affordable housing. First, I think of city government or government officials, that they are responsible for regulations regarding housing and especially zoning. And so to the degree that they make wise and just decisions, we have justice in the city. So they reflect God when they do that well. I also think developers and kind of like even like non-for-profit developers who are at work building housing, that they show God's good work of provision when they do that well. I think landlords, I was thinking about it today, and I think that God is like the OG landlord. That like when he brings Israel out, like he brings them into the land, right? And he lays out all these stipulations of like, here's how you get to treat my land, and like, here's how you don't get to treat my land. And as long as you treat it right, you can stay. And that Israel does. And then when they start to abuse the land, God evicts them. Like he kicks them out. Which is the purpose of landlords. And then obviously families who are looking for housing, who are struggling to find or to be able to afford housing. I think that they really show us like a picture of Jesus, right? Because Jesus wandered around and like didn't have housing for most of his public ministry. He didn't really have like a home base, but just that dependence on God is just a really beautiful thing that I think families in that situation speak to.
Yeah. So if people are going to jump in and join the prayer and action group, do they have to be like experts or city council members or something to have any sort of impact?
No, absolutely not. I am definitely not an expert by any means. I am still learning. I haven't finished my master's program even. But I think just a willingness to learn and to interact with city government. They want to interact with us, right? That's why they send out all these flyers and emails and are soliciting your opinion. So just a willingness to enter in and to speak up for our neighbors who have trouble getting housing.
That's good. Well, as we get ready to launch the prayer and action group, why is this an important issue for people to step into? It's not the hashtag frenzy like pop issue as much as some other things are, but it's really important and integral to people's flourishing. Why should we focus on this?
Yeah, I think affordable housing is an upstream issue for a lot of things that are way more visible. Key among them, homelessness, or when we talk about just like the legacy of racism in our country, or when people talk about like intergenerational wealth and like how building that and how that happens over time. The housing has played a big role in a lot of these things. And so that we should care about that. I also think that God in particular really cares about this, right? Like when he kicks Israel out of the land, and then when Jesus talks to the Pharisees, like one of the things he says is that like, hey, like you devoured widows' houses, that like you took away the stability and the sense of home from like those who are most poor and vulnerable. And like that's definitely something we've seen even like when I was a teenager and the affordable housing, not the affordable housing, the 2008 housing market collapse.
Yeah.
And just how there were a lot of people who, were in predatory loans and the banks took advantage and were foreclosed on and are now in the rental market. I think those things just like really hurt the heart of God.
Yeah, yeah. I really appreciate your attentiveness to this, and I'm really looking forward to having this prayer and action group where we can get a group of people who say, I'm going to find some tangible way that I can help with this issue. I'm going to pray like crazy, and I'm going to join with some other folks and really read and learn and not just be about talk when it comes to justice, but about prayer and action. So thank you for leading us in this. Redemption Tempe, I would like to invite you to join and step into this. So you're going to watch this on video, and the miniature version of me or whoever's doing announcements down here will tell you exactly how to sign up. But let's all together, whether it's housing or our occupations, continue to be disciples who live all of life, all for Jesus.